So, you know that feeling you get when you're disappointed by a game, but you don't really know why because you weren't actually expecting all that much? Well, I'm kind of having that feeling now with a game called Historical Beef by, question our, the developer's name is on the tab, but it's cut off, so, created by Elliot Page and Hugh O'Brien. There it is. There it is. Right, I know what I'm doing. Anyway, so this is a free indie game. You can find it on itch.io, or itch.io, whatever you prefer to call it. And let's just go ahead and read the description, shall we? We'll just start up here. Historical Beef is a meat curation simulator featuring meat from game history. You play the protagonist, the meat curator, whose job is to prepare museum displays of exquisite meats for public consumption, with eyes, not the mouth. When your exhibit is opened, your arrangement of meats will be judged and graded. Will your displays get the brisket or be a load of tough rump? Now that right there is a pretty incredible description, right? I mean, how could you not want to play a game where you arrange meat from past video games in a museum and then get judged on how you did? That sounds fantastic, right? I mean, I don't really understand how that works, even after playing the game, but it still sounds incredible, right? When I read that, I knew immediately that I had to cover this game in some capacity. If we scroll down here, we can see a little more about the lore. Damn, son, here comes the lore dump. The near future. I imagine it was written in this kind of voice. Humanity, after vanquishing countless ills such as cancer and anime, has started to become more and more demanding in the arena of artistic entertainment. The task falls to you, as a well-known curator in the art world, to satisfy the intense and fickle demands of the gallery visiting public, not to mention critics. Oh, that's me! One of your most prominent clients has asked you for something fresh, something original, and what you've been left is stumped. I completely screwed up that line, but you get the point. Yeah, this is all really is just lore background stuff that doesn't appear in the game in any way. So what is the game, you might be wondering? Well, let's stop messing about with this and start playing, shall we? Okay, welcome back to Historical Beef, or I guess I should say, welcome to Historical Beef, since the last one was just... okay, whatever. Right, so you have 4 options here. Quit, which is the very first option, which is telling. Then you have free meat, that's pretty much the free roam mode, if you want to call it that. Credits, pretty self-explanatory. And the campaign mode. Let's go ahead and jump into campaign, shall we? Meat Origins.
Place your meat.
Yes, we have a lovely text-to-speech voice there, telling us what we should be doing, and this is it, pretty much. You have a museum here that you need to jump around occasionally, and place your meat. Quite literally placing meat on things. Right, as you can see here, it's pretty much just a case of, you know, here's the asset, here's what it is, here's what game it's from, and a brief description. Apparently this is a chicken platter from Streets of Rage, released on the Sega. One of my favorite platforms of all time, the Sega, in the year 1991. When you are fighting uncontrolled violence on the streets, the only thing that you can trust is your fists. And the chicken that appears when you punch a post box. Marvelous. Pot roast, that's what that is, apparently. Castlevania, the original, the classic, hewn from a wall in the darkest Transylvania for your enjoyment. Bone Loaf, Final Fight, the original example of what has now become a common motif, the Bone Loaf. Here it is, in all its classical glory. And finally, Meat, from The Secret of Monkey Island. A robust, well-clicked piece of meat. In times of frustration, the original artist has often found running hither to hither. Hither to thither... Right, we're gonna place that down there. And this is pretty much the game. It's a first-person, I guess, platformer you'd call it, because that's always fun, first-person platforming. Oh wait, no, that's the same one. Let's go ahead and put the chicken platter there. I've played this a little bit already. Played probably the first 2 or 3 levels, if you want to call it that, and I've had no problems whatsoever. Just put a different piece of meat on each pedestal, and then go ahead and click this ribbon. It'll tell you to display your meat. Then you just wait for a couple seconds, and you wait for a couple of seconds, and you wait for a couple of seconds, and okay, there it is. Yes, this is fine, absolutely fine, average meh. Oh, well, okay, that's interesting. When I was testing it earlier, it said, you are fantastic, you're great, this is fantastic, awesome, yay! But okay, of course, now that we're recording, I'm just meh. It's performance anxiety. It happens a lot when I'm displaying my meat. Ha 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 ha. I think that's pretty much the gist of the game. The whole game is pretty much just based around the joke of displaying your meat. Do you get it? Do you get the joke that they're going for there? I will say it's nice that you get different meat as you progress throughout the game, and it is a really silly but still kind of funny concept at first. You know, you just sit here and reading all these descriptions of different meat that's been in video games. It is kind of an interesting topic from a video game historian perspective, I guess, to see different, like, meat products in video games. I know that sounds really weird, but does kind of intrigue me. That much, at least. The rest of it, not so much. As you can see here, we're doing some first-person platforming. The frame rate is struggling to keep up. I think that's just my computer, though, to be fair. We'll put some offal on here from Dungeons of Dreadmore. According to the artist, a triumph of amateur butchery. We leave it to you to decide if this is the case. Right, I've never played that game, so I can't tell you how accurate that is, but as you can see, they all are just kind of 2D pixelized 8-bit stuff. Let's go ahead and submit this for our displeasure. Get it? Displeasure. Display? Okay. Right, I do like these little pictures here, showing you the different cuts of meat on different animals. So you got the head there, the blade, the shoulder. Did you know the butt in a pig isn't actually the butt, it's actually the shoulder? Anyway, yes, this is good. You have done well with this arrangement. I think that's just completely randomized, if you did a good job or not. Expressions of the avant-garde school of carnivorism. Okay. And yeah, this is literally the entire game. The, I guess, free-range mode is pretty much just... See, look at that. That's not even meat. That's a whole cheeseburger. I mean, there's meat in it, sure, but you got bread and, was that tomatoes and cheese? That's not meat. And here you have Meat Boy. That's a living, sentient being. Does that count? Probably. It's called Meat Boy. But yeah, this is the game. It's just putting down meat, reading slightly funny but short descriptions that kind of repeat as you can see. And that's it. The free range mode, I don't know if I finished that previous thought, but the free range mode is pretty much just this, but you have all the meat unlocked at once, and that's it. It's just kind of wandering around this environment, jumping poorly because it's first-person platforming, and then putting meat down, and then waiting for someone to say if you're good or not. And that is the game. I don't know why I'm disappointed by this game, but I don't know, I kind of figured reading the description on the page would kind of be more involved than this. Like the judging of your display would be more, I don't know, logical. Like there would actually be somebody coming to judge your display, and like they'd give you tips on how to do better, or explain why you suck or why you're great. But no, it is just clicking on pedestals, clicking on what meat you want to put on there, and then waiting to hear that you did a good job, and then you're on to the next level. So I feel like there could definitely be a hell of a lot more to this, but there just isn't. Yeah, this is historical beef. Is it worth playing? Not really, to be honest. I feel like I pretty much showed you everything there is to see about this game. I will move around a little bit though while I'm finishing up, but yeah, that's pretty much all there is to the game. Just clicking on stuff and waiting. It's not really much to it other than that.